All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to week 3, day 2 of the Creator Accelerator program. I am very excited for everybody to be here, and we have another lovely speaker for today. And again, if you guys are just popping through, I know a lot of you guys are from Quit the Build community. This is for the Creator Accelerator program, which is a program hosted by both Blurp and Streamladder. And this is a program incentivizing you creators to go and lock in, work hard in a 6-week window to grow as much as possible through all of the stuff that you guys are doing. So I am so excited for all of you guys and all the growth that's happened already. If you guys have not seen, the top 500 was announced last night slash this morning. There was a tweet put out on Blurp's Twitter page. So if you haven't taken a peep already, go and, take a little peek over here to see if you made the top 500. But don't worry, even if you did not, you still will have access to everything. Like you can still watch these streams, still learn from these amazing speakers that we're bringing on to help you guys, and you will still get access to everything, including Streamladder Gold Plus. So I'm seeing in chat a lot of names that I saw on the top 500. Really proud of each and every one of you guys. You guys all work so hard. You guys all deserve your flowers. But coming into this, speaking of learning though, today we have another lovely speaker for us to go and learn from. And this is our speaker, Nick from Quit the Build.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thank you for having me on, Kat.
Thank you so much for coming on, Nick, because if you guys don't know Nick, I am so excited to pick your brain because Nick has TikTok live streaming locked down. Such entertaining segments, and everybody who is looking to learn to, improve the engagement and monetization of your lives, Nick is the person that you want to go and learn from. So, for
Wow.
those who don't know you yet, can you give us a quick intro about you and what your channel is all about?
You're really setting me up here. I hope I don't disappoint. That was quite the intro. Hi. Yeah, so Quit the Build is actually a group of streamers. It's myself and my childhood best friend Bruno. That is just kind of centered around positivity and kind of variety streaming and interactivity. And yeah, I stream primarily. My very first platform that I streamed on was on TikTok Live exclusively for several years. And then we ended up bringing Twitch into the mix about, oh gosh, about at this point a little over a year ago. It was January of 2025 when we made that jump over and added it to not multi-streaming, but as a secondary platform. And it's been great there, branching out and trying new things. And yeah, we got partnered shortly after, and here we are. It's I don't know why I see so many people. He has an NFL chat's talking about the arcade machine. I turned them off so you wouldn't be distracted. Okay, I did. But yeah, that's what Quit the Bill's all about. It's just about being interactive, and really providing kind of less of just a stream and more of a show where people can feel like they're a part of it in more ways. If they want to just watch and lurk and view passively, they can. But there's just so many ways that people can interact with the streams that both monetized and not monetized that can make any viewer feel like they're part of the community.
I love that, honestly. I love how you describe it as, not just a stream, but a show, because I really think, that is what gives your streams that entertainment factor, that entertainment value. It is a show, and, like you're saying, you can come and lurk, or you can come and, engage with the stream and join in all the fun. So, you're now one of the top 1% creators on TikTok, which is huge. So tell us about your journey and how you got there, how you grew, and what you did differently than other creators on TikTok.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that I started on TikTok and I treated TikTok as its own thing, rather than a multi-stream destination. When I first started with TikTok Live, it was very early back when like you had to know someone who knew someone to get a stream key. It was a very they were very much growing it. Now TikTok Live Gaming has its own has its own dedicated staff, their own department. Like they're really very focused on growth. But it is the FYP, right, and getting pushed out and the algorithm getting you introduced to new people is an extremely powerful tool if used correctly. And very early on, I remember going back, before I was on TikTok Live, and just finding virality with the stuff that I do. One of the things that I'm most known for, aside from TikTok Live, is I create like parody jingles. that often get used as sounds for other things. Now I know I'm cropped out, but on the side here, I have my signature Kirby ball. I was the guy that made the Kirby ball song about Target when
That
they
was so funny.
that it like
Actually
that, and it's
so funny.
people still talk about it. I just got tagged in another video that blew up with like, "Hey, remember the 2021 vibes?" And I'm like, "Oh boy, that's was that really 5 years ago?" But and like a parody about like now the chicken nugget Dino chicken nugget song. Go to the store and buy some more nuggets that are shaped like dinosaurs. So and that they get used all over the place as sounds. And so that was kind of my start where I knew that like I at least had some understanding of the algorithm. And yeah, from there I just experimented. Once I had live access and I knew that I could actually stream and play games, I had streamed for a brief time before on Twitch only. I said, well, let's try giving this a, this is very early on. Let's see what it does for us. And I'll never forget the first stream. I was playing Power Wash Simulator of all things. And all of a sudden, I texted my partner, business partner Bruno, and I said, "Dude, you got to get in here right now. There's 1,000 people watching this stream." I couldn't believe it, and like this is a fairly new creator on the platform, and that's just the power of what the FYP can do for you. And then from there I figured out how can you monetize it, how can you have fun, how can you add interactive elements to it, and yeah, before I knew it, it was now at this point we just got done with TikTok Live Fest, which is the biggest live event of the year. There was actually there were people we had ads on the Sphere in Vegas when we went this year, and I've made top 10 each year. This year was that in the popular category, but yeah, 2 years of gaming top 10. One year was number two in the nation. So definitely, there's that competition aspect as well that you have to kind of master if you really want to lean into it. But that's the big thing doing differently is just creating an interactive experience that is centered on music. It's centered on extra components and functions that make it more like a show and less like just a guy playing a game. That people can, once they know what does what, they can activate certain things, and it's always I'm eating jelly beans and doing dances on the fly because someone told me to.
That is so amazing. Wow, top 10 multiple years is wildly impressive. Like, this is what I'm saying, guys. Nick is the master. We're learning from the master here, giving us all your secrets. That is actually so cool. I completely slept on, but the fact that you utilize sounds to grow also, I think is so it just goes to show the strategy you have behind your growth. The Kirby Ball jingles are so good. I was like scrolling and scrolling and got down the Kirby Ball rabbit hole. I was like, these are bangers, man. So when you were talking about your live, right? Like when you go live or start making content, what is the experience you want viewers to feel?
I want them to feel seen. That really is it. I want them to feel seen. The ones that want to be seen, I want them to feel seen. Lurkers are the lifeblood of any stream, especially on Twitch or even on TikTok. But I want to create content that if you want to engage with it, that there's really fun ways to do that. But if you want to just hang back and watch, you still feel like someone's having a conversation with you, and that's always been at the forefront of what I do. I used to, before I was in streaming, I worked in radio for a while, so I know the importance of always talking and always creating a dynamic atmosphere and not having dead air and not just a person staring at a screen playing a game. And once I understood ways that I could implement features like Blurp that allowed people to immediately get in there with their favorite sounds and create sounds, and we very much have a culture of people clipping things I'm saying out of context and then turning that into a blurb and then people playing that blurb over and over again. I'm sure many of the inside jokes that my community is now putting in your chat have something to do with that. But that was the big thing, and that was what one really nice thing about moving over to Twitch. That's when I discovered Blurp, and the team at Blurp, and they were just so amazing at helping us to learn about all the features that I could use because I needed that. I needed that functionality on the TikTok side. I primarily use an app called Tickfinity, which is a very much an all-in-one suite of things that are hyper connected to TikTok, and super easy to set up and use. And I needed something similar to that, and it was right around that time that Blurp was rolling out their 2.0 with the video features as well. And that made it so that I could take a lot of my stuff that I had built up over the years on TikTok and just put it right into Twitch so that a lot of our regulars feel right at home.
I love how you said that it's really just making people feel seen and making people feel at home, right?
Yeah.
Like that warm, fuzzy feeling people get. It's what makes people come back to the stream. In your opinion, what separates somebody who streams for fun versus a true entertainer? Because as you said, you do this full time.
In order to entertain and not just stream, you have to think about way more than just the game. The game is the hook, right? The game is what is bringing somebody in to maybe for the first time, and especially on TikTok, that's important because when someone's scrolling, if you want more people to see your stream, they need to stop for a second, and more often than not, it's the game that you're playing and not necessarily what you're doing. But it's making sure that you are creating an atmosphere of entertainment. Like that really is it. That's the exchange, is that people are giving you their time and potentially money, and you are providing them with actual entertainment and value. And always thinking about what the next thing is. I never get comfortable with what I'm doing, or like, oh, I'm settled in and everything's where it should be. And I always want to make sure I'm thinking about what the next thing is going to be, or if maybe something is kind of overstayed its welcome and needs to be phased out in exchange for something else. That way, it's always a fresh experience, and we don't get too settled in. And of course, I do have the benefit as well of being a variety streamer, which means that I can always find that new oddball game. And that's kind of my niche right now on the Twitch side, is just like the rage bait games, or the games that are like they look cute, but like they're there to troll you, or they're like, there's something sinister going on underneath. People love to see my reactions to that kind of stuff. And that's really the big thing, is just there's always something that's going around the corner, and I want my viewers to feel that way, that something around the corner is going to happen that's going to be worth sticking around for.
I love the rage bait games. Like you're saying, those are great for
Yeah.
content pieces. And something that you do so well is content segments and competitions. Like you said, keep switching things up, changing out things that don't work for something new that is working, right?
Yeah.
How did you start thinking about your stream in the way of segments and competitions?
So, well, for competitions, TikTok is the big thing with competitions, because TikTok is where there's a literal gaming ranking, and it's kind of where Twitch separates and deviates from TikTok, where Twitch is almost like, I would say, PVE, where TikTok is almost like PvP, where if you're doing well on any given day, then you're literally on a list with other streamers around you, and oftentimes, your community will kind of get into the hype of wanting to go as far as they can on those boards. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, it can be very competitive. TikTok Live Fest is extremely competitive. I mean, it's insanely stressful. We had a charity component just so I can like motivate myself to get through it, because it's just like it's a lot, and everybody wants those top spots. But that's the big thing, is just when it comes to competition. And the cool thing is that we kind of took that spirit when I moved over to Twitch. So I do TikTok and Twitch streams totally separately. So each night I will start on Twitch for a few hours for the core community, and then that's where I play the variety games and the stuff that's off the beaten path. Then I'll hop over to TikTok each night, where it's a little more formulaic in what I play and what I do. But the cool thing is that once I discovered the Blurp leaderboards, the Blurp Top 100, I said, wait a second, this is a top 100 list. We love top 100 lists. So on my stream, I'll literally have that pulled up as a browser source, where I'll leave that on the screen as right above my webcam, so people can see where do we rank. Which, if you guys don't know, there's a monthly leaderboard at blurp.com/leaderboard, where you can see, and it's based on how many blurps have been sent in a certain measurement, so that people can, because that's our primary extension that we use, so people can see, and then they know, like, if they blurp a bunch, that we're going to move up the ranks, and we can see how far we can go. One month we actually got first place when we first came over, and that was
Ooh.
exciting. Yeah. So that's how I guess I got blurped attention, but it was, and we're still always up there. But it's just one of those ways where you can take any stream and add, and kind of gamify it in a fun way. It makes it so that a lot of my big supporters, they love to put bits into the community pool that Blurp has, where anybody can send out blurps once that there's money in that pool, to kind of share and let people kind of create a little bit of chaos. But that's the big thing, is there's always something to shoot for, whether it's a sub goal, whether it's and something that's going to happen. We've done some crazy stuff. I've put out these ridiculous hype train goals of like, it's never going to happen, so I'll say this so that it'll never happen, and then it does. I had to get frosted tips because we hit a hype train so high, and then we did it again later. So my wife got Krista, who sometimes shows up in the stream, got like rainbow low lights, and we were just like doing all these different like now all these hair based challenges. I'm running out of ideas. If you have any, let me know.
It's always the stream curse, man. Every time you say, "We're never gonna hit this," chat's like, "Bet."
Yeah, it's me versus Chat. And that's kind of the competition too in a lot of ways is because a lot of the TikTok content is like sabotage based content where I'll be playing a game and like we'll have like a small gift have like basically like be attached to a keybind that will make my character ragdoll.
Mhm.
Yeah, bonk exactly. Des said it in chat. They love the bonk
I
button.
watched your crazy save. That was so
Yeah, yeah.
impressive. I was like, "Dang."
Yeah, that's nonstop of just me versus chat of them just doing everything in their power. They can't get enough of it. If I they need the bonk game. So that's just one way where you can make it fun to mess with the streamer, right? Everyone loves to mess with a streamer, and you
Oh,
can have some
yeah.
fun with that
You
and,
know,
and turn it into a
competition,
competition.
I
Yep.
it's you versus chat. It's not even you versus the leaderboard.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah,
I
that's the
love
main
that.
thing.
So regarding your streaming segments, because as you say, you've got a lot going on in your streams and your community is so entertained. Why do you think these segments are so powerful for keeping people engaged?
I think they are because it leverages my skill set. I have a heavy background in music and entertainment and public speaking, and so like I think a lot of it just kind of converges where it becomes kind of an experience and less of just just another day of somebody streaming the same game. And that's the big thing is that, when people all the time when I'm streaming on TikTok, I'll be doing some ridiculous segment like where I have a pair of space pants that I wear all the time and I'll sing about the space pants. It's a Saturday Night Live sketch. And like almost every time that I do it, somebody will say, like, okay, I was scrolling, but I stopped for the space pants. Like it's always some ridiculous segment, or I'm in a banana suit singing banana phone or whatever it is. I have my little Kirby automaton that I'm weirdly good at playing that they'll be like, wow, I didn't know anyone could actually play that. So like things that really get someone's attention in a fun and wholesome way. And then, once they feel seen, and that's the big thing. And like I said before, it's about people feeling seen and wanting to come back each night. I think it's so easy, especially when people overwhelm themselves with multi-streaming or the game that they're playing, they get too immersed where chat gets ignored. And unless you've got a chat that's, going by a mile a minute, like some streamers do, and even then there's a correct way to pull comments from that and make them part of the conversation. I think, really making people feel engaged and having conversations with the people in your chat is the secret to bringing people back and making them want to feel like this is a thing that they want to make it a part of their regular routine. Checking in on them, and that's the big thing where it's. I know it can be kind of a red flag term, but kind of like a family in the sense of they really do feel like there's a connection, and like I remember things about people, and that helps them to feel like they're part of what we do, and they are. The viewers are so critical. And like I said, just finding those fun interactive components that really make people feel like they're part of the stream. Another great example is crowd control, which is a great extension on Twitch that will let you and you can integrate with like channel points where like you can do so many cool things to mess with a streamer and that are like specific to the game itself that really make it feel fun. That just a couple examples.
I love that. I really love how chat in your community is such a huge emphasis in your stream. Um, Speaking of your chat and your community, what are your favorite ways to get chat involved in stream related decisions?
Oh, I like using polls if I need to. I'll use polls, just kind of flash polls to get the people's takes on things. Or like I said, I'll have certain goals that might say, if we hit X number of subs or whatever, I'll, or on TikTok, like literally, there's an option to make me restart the game. The people love that. Wait until I get way way far in it, and then like, oh, yep, okay, you're starting over now. Let me push this button. That's about it. Really, is just utilizing the features that already exist within Twitch natively. I think Twitch and TikTok, they all have their own things, which is why I really think that they're kind of best separated. Everyone has their own approach to content creation, but for me, I think I found I found the best balance when I said, instead of trying to be everywhere at once and diluting the audience, right? Let's focus on one thing at a time and play to the strengths of each platform.
I love that. And then regarding the viewers you have in your stream, what do you think about like passive viewers or like lurkers versus really engaged viewers? And how do you like plan your content around that?
It's yeah, it's a balance, right?
Mhm.
Because like I said before, lurkers really are the lifeblood of a stream.
Agreed.
Where it can be tough, especially if you have a really slow chat where like you know your regulars are watching and they're going about their day and doing their thing, but you need something to kind of bounce off of in order to have something to talk about. It can be tough to talk to no one, and that's kind of a challenge that a lot of startup streamers have, which is why I always recommend getting involved with TikTok, because with TikTok, especially for new streamers starting out, you're not streaming to no one. Like you're getting pushed out to an audience, and as long as you're, following the rules of the platform and creating content that engages with its mechanics, you're going to get those viewers. You really are. You just got to experiment and be willing to try new things. But yeah, the big thing is lurkers can be engaged, and as long as you are, again, no one wants to lurk in a stream for the most part where someone is just sitting there and doing nothing. So I think as long as you are yapping, as long as you've got something going on, have backup plans for like when things take a lull, right?
Mhm.
Like I will oftentimes, if I hit a point where I catch myself and there's just not I've oh my god, I've run out of things to talk about. It happens. And it's a slow night in chat. Like I'll try to have some oddball facts about something like, oh, hey, have you guys checked out Pokopia? What have you guys thought about that so far? Like something relevant to gaming, or that I know my audience would be interested in, or like a new, what's the latest food viral thing at Taco Bell or whatever, right? What Baja Blast thing are we talking about today? And that usually is a way to get me talking, but also, sometimes you got to jumpstart the conversation. So that it's always good to have a few things in your back pocket. There's even some great tools you can buy. They're like conversation decks. I've seen on TikTok Shop, and they can be they can be general purpose things where like you could have on your desk, and like if you find yourself getting just completely hung up, just draw a card. It'll be about something, and that can keep the conversation going. You never want somebody's first impression of you to be just nothing interesting is going on, right? Always have something interesting going on, and oftentimes the game can provide that. If you're a variety streamer, is curating the game really helps with that. Maybe it's your personality, but you have to remember, like, especially on Twitch, like, even if you manage your pre-roll ads correctly, like, there's a good chance someone's gonna have to watch an ad just to watch your content for any length of time. And if they do have to watch a pre-roll ad, you gotta have something waiting for them on the other end that's gonna make it worth their time. So, it's just that mentality of the hook, right? And that's the big thing about TikTok, is the hook, the first 5 seconds of a video. The same thing applies to a stream. Why should somebody stop and watch your content over someone else's? And if you can figure that out, then you're definitely on the path to retaining viewers and growing over time.
That was so much knowledge dropped. Absolutely love that. I love how you have backup plans, right? Because like sometimes chat just gets a little slow and people are doing things, they're doing laundry. And the fact that you have all these like backup plans already, conversation deck, to get started, that is such a great point for streamers. And speaking into that as well, what signals tell you that chat is dropping? And then what are your strategies besides do you have any other strategies besides tossing out your backup questions to, get that engagement back up again that you're so good at doing?
Change the game. Change the game, change the game. It's
Mm.
so many people, are either streaming in an oversaturated category, or they are streaming and it's just not interesting. Like, the game is just not interesting. I have plenty of games that I will play when I'm not streaming that I would never stream. Like, people ask me, like, "What do you play?" And, like, the games that I actually play in my off time are not the games that I stream, because I'm streaming to find the games that provide clippable moments that viewers enjoy, right? Those, oh my god, what is happening moments, like the anomaly games and the scary games and the games that are intentionally difficult, to again, rage bait games. Those are always fantastic for content. Those always keep chat engaged. People always want to be there to see the next moment genuinely get upset. It's not an act. These rage bait games actually do make the streamer mad. And it's always fun to see the next crash out. But like that's the big thing is change the game. I have seen it so many times where like I think that a game might do okay, and then I realize that it's just like I've got nothing to talk about. Chat is has kind of gone into lurking mode, and that's usually the biggest red flag for me is maybe I need to find something else to play. So, and I'll pivot. The term "quit the build" literally means to stop what you're doing and do something else. It's a coding term, that when a video game is buggy and you're developing it and it's not working, then you quit the build and try and figure out what's going on. At least that's what Bruno tells me is where the name came from. He came up with it, not me. I trust him. But that's the thing of like, if a game isn't working for me and I'm genuinely not having fun playing it, I quit the build. So we even have like unofficial leaderboards of like what are our fastest QTBs. Like there's been games that I've opened up and like sub 5 minutes, I've been like, I hate this game. I don't want to stream it. Let's do something else, and we'll completely pivot. And
Wow.
that's led to some great streams where I've tapped into some random game that someone gifted me, or like something that I've had sitting in my Steam library for the longest time, and we'll end up having a blast with that game that I never would have picked otherwise. So yeah, just being willing to admit that like the game you're playing, for variety streamers at least, or even for streamers if that's what you do full time, like if you main one game, it can really put a breath of fresh air into your stream. Even if viewership goes down, I know that's a problem for streamers that are primarily Fortnite or primarily Arc Raiders or whatever, that, you lose certain audience people. But the people who are really there for you, that are there for your content and not just for the game, they're going to follow you wherever you go. So it's always good to freshen it up.
Stream is dropping a bunch of names, and there's some funny names in here. I'm guessing these are games you've
Yeah.
either played or speedrun.
I see Coconut Sim 2 in there, which is probably the craziest dollar I've ever seen spent. It's yeah, like straight up troll games. Yeah, they're naming all the quit the builds.
Wow, that
Yeah, they
that
know.
is so funny. I love some of these names. They got like "Date Your Grandma." I'm like,
Don't play that one. Oh, that's so bad. It's the worst FMV game of all time.
was that your
Um,
5-minute speedrun?
that one was sub 5 minutes. Yeah, that was sub five. Yeah, there's only a few that have that honor, and that was one of them. No,
Ooh.
people will gift me games because they know I'm the weird games guy.
Mhm.
So I'll get gifted these games that people know are weird, and then I'll just be like, okay, let's roll the dice and try it. And then it's just like sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's like, what have you sent me? What am I playing? So it's fun for me too, because oftentimes it really is a blind reaction.
Mhm.
I'm not like looking for these games to play.
It's like, "Man, I can never get these 5 minutes back."
Yeah, yeah,
That is so hilarious. So, pivoting from that, because we've learned a lot about chat engagement, a big part about creating as well is making a living from it and making money from, creating content and doing what you love. So, a lot of creators struggle with monetization because it can
yeah.
feel awkward, but for you, it comes so naturally, right? How do you make it feel fun instead of transactional?
You make it fun by incorporating the competition into what you're doing. I will tell you that a very large portion of what I make on Twitch comes from Blurb. And it's also about being smart about how you monetize, right? Like base it off of your audience and know like how are they willing to support you, and make sure you're doing it in a fun but also sustainable way. For example, a great example of this is on TikTok. We have the Bean Zone, which is I don't have it right here, but it's like a dedicated camera with all the different the Bean Boozled jelly beans, right? We have it. It's like a whole game show set over here. That has been like a core monetized thing on TikTok, where it's like a $3 gift that will allow them to pick a bean. And that's one of the few things that like over all the different last 5 years always been there, and it's still popular to this day. I have to set a limit. I used to have no limit, and I would eat so many jelly beans that my doctor said, "You have to stop." So I'm like it's like set a cap, because they'd stuff me full of 100 plus of these things each night. It was insane. And so I had to set a limit each day to how many I consume. But on the Twitch side, that is not a paid thing. That's a channel point thing. Which kind of incentivizes people to check out the Twitch content as well, that might not be able to support that way. But the big thing is TikTok. I really can't stress this enough. People don't understand the monetization potential of TikTok. Right now, even with I stream about evenly capped between TikTok and Twitch. It's about 50-50. I spend
Mm.
about 2 hours on each platform, sometimes a little bit longer on TikTok. About 90% of my income comes from TikTok, and that's as a Twitch partner, like, that's with us hitting our sub goals on Twitch. That is the reason that I'm able to do what I can do full time. That was the only place that I was when I went full time. It wasn't until recently that I made the jump over to Twitch.
Mm.
TikTok is equipped, even though and there is a lot of stigma because TikTok takes such a large percentage of gifts. But one of the things is because it's set up as diamonds, it's set up as, coins and all this, it can be difficult as a creator to look at it and understand, or someone who might be interested in streaming on TikTok and saying, what, what is this profitable? Like, what's a rose? What's a galaxy? Like, all these gifts don't, what does that mean? Right. And it's not until you really dive into it that you understand that you have people that are scrolling, and they will stop by your stream and support you more than you think monetarily, and then scroll on, and your regulars will support you there, and it's putting you in front of more people with systems that people are already used to engaging with, that make it fun to support a streamer, right? The on-screen animations that happen when larger gifts drop on TikTok, those are incredible moments. And yeah, the overwhelming majority of my income comes from people supporting me on TikTok. It's still people, it's not the platform,
Mhm.
but it's people that are supporting me on TikTok because they want to be a part of the pushes. The nights where we actually get onto like the top three or even the number one streamer on TikTok. We've held that title before in the gaming ranks. Like that's a powerful moment. And it's a moment I think where a lot of streamers like myself realize like you can do this full time. Like you can do this in a sustainable way, in a fun way, and people want to support you because they want to see their streamer do well. And that's the big thing. And I to a lot of people that are watching right now, I see a lot of people talk about TikTok that didn't
Mhm.
realize this with the monetization. Yeah, it is still the same potential that it was years ago, even though more people are getting into it now. Their good content gets pushed out. Good content that isn't clearly multi-streamed gets pushed out. You have to have content that really is dedicated to TikTok only. And that's why I separate my content, because once they realize that you're on multiple platforms, that can cause problems with your exposure to the FYP. They want people to stay on TikTok, right? But by separating, I still bring people over to Twitch because they want to experience the other side of what we have to offer. And one thing I'll say very quickly, Kat, a lot of people they can't start streaming on TikTok because you need about 1,000 followers before you have live access. So you already have to have content established. That
Mhm.
is not the case anymore. And if anybody is in the stream that wants to get set up with TikTok streaming, I actually work with a TikTok live agency that a friend of mine started, who's a great content creator. And I can get literally anybody streaming access regardless of their follower count. So if anybody is interested in starting that journey on TikTok Live, and there's no fee, there's no cost. It's just we just get you set up with it. Let me know. You can just send me a DM on Quit the Build here on Twitch or on Discord. I'm at nick.qtb. That's at nick.qtb, or yeah, any of the socials there that you just linked. You can do that as well. But yeah, I can get anybody set up with streaming access, and you can start that journey. And it is a powerful one. And some choose to multi-stream, some choose to make it its own thing and dedicate their resources to it. And I think that's the best way to start personally, especially if you're just starting out your streaming journey. Is give it time to breathe on its own and really understand the mechanics, and then when you find that day where you're a streamer that all of a sudden you have 1,000 people sitting in your stream, and you're like, wait a second, what is happening right now? And they're real people. Like it's life changing. For me, it was literally life changing. It's a slept on platform.
That is amazing. I dropped the Discord in chat, so if you guys wanna go and, like, read that, Nick's links are also available at exclamation mark speaker if you would like to go and check Nick out over there. You answered so many questions, and yeah, like you're saying, there's a lot of power in TikTok live streaming that a lot of people are just realizing, which is great,
Yeah.
because we have you to teach everybody, and then they can go get started with contacting you if they wanna get that key. Speaking of streamers who are looking to get started with TikTok live streaming, what is the best monetization focus you recommend they experiment with?
Experimenting with the mechanics that are already built in. So now instead of stream keys, oftentimes, well, not oftentimes, almost 99.9% of people that will engage with TikTok Live will use their own streaming software. They have TikTok Live Studio, and in it are features that really should be explored. Features like the gift goal, where you can have something at the top of your screen of like, hey, let's like, can we hit this goal? And you set what that is, and you can start with something small, and then ratchet it up a little bit each time to see if can we hit this goal? Can we hit this goal? Also, viewer wishes is a brand new feature that they just rolled out that's really cool, where you can take certain gifts and you can say this does this. Like if you send this, then I'm gonna eat a Bean Boozled bean. If you send this, I'm gonna do a space pants dance, whatever. And then you can have that on the screen so that when people tap on it, it actually brings them to that gift on TikTok. So that they're able to see that goal and know that they're working towards it. That's the biggest thing, is that there are so many, and if you just go into TikTok Live Studio, there's a whole section of just like monetization methods that you can utilize. There's Superfan now, which I love, by the way. So Superfan is the equivalent of a subscription on TikTok, or on Twitch. I'm sorry. Even though there's no ads on TikTok Live, you still get like the extra emotes and all that kind of thing, and it's a monthly fee. There's a new feature that they just rolled out called subscription boxes, superfan boxes, where when somebody gifts a sub now on TikTok, it will put a 3-minute timer at the top of the screen with a little treasure box. Let's say I gift 5 subs on TikTok to a streamer. It'll put that up at the top corner of the screen, and then when that timer hits 0, 5 people that push the open button are going to receive that sub. It ensures that people stick around for your stream because you can really hype that up, but also it makes sure that the people that are receiving the subs are your active viewers, the people that are in your chat, not just whoever happens to receive a gift sub. It's actually a really powerful monetization method that also, it's fun. It's fun for people to gift, and they know it's going to go to somebody who's actually in chat and is part of the stream.
That is lovely. Thank you for all those pointers on the features that are really, really helpful. And then finally, about monetization, is there an example of a monetization mechanic that your viewers specifically love participating in?
Oh, the beans. Oh, it's the beans. They love the beans. Like I said, they cannot get enough of the beans. Now on TikTok though, like I said, I have a lot built into Tickfinity where I'll have like a certain gift, and it's really cool. Like you can dial it down to like the smallest gift on TikTok, the rose or the heart me, or like even something larger, and make it do something really cool on your screen. And that is the big thing of just they love sabotaging my gameplay. Like, that's the big thing on TikTok. Like, if I'm playing a game and there isn't a way to mess with me, then they probably won't enjoy it as much. Like, they want something that they can do that that influences the gameplay. Whether it's a simple keybind that makes me jump or move or drop my weapons or whatever. That's the big thing, is just having that, and also the musical components. People love the songs, like, which I'm already known for, and I was able to kind of fold into the streams, of being able to sing their favorite song. And it's on, like, it's interactive. It's on screen. Like I use chroma key and browser sources and CapCut editing to like create actual videos that are playing on the screen, that overlay rather than just be a kind of just an audio only experience. So those are the big things that people, they just love it.
Speaking of which, I actually wanna
Yep.
show one of your clips. Sorry, I was, like, looking
Okay.
over to try to pull it up because just to give
Okay.
people an example, this was one of the ones that you sent in. So, guys, this is
Oh boy.
just we're gonna take a peep at this one,
This
okay?
is the cannon. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is the hamster cannon. Enjoy this. Or puppy dog tails. There it goes. Yeah, I think that was 1,000 hamsters. Looks painful, doesn't it? Okay, so yeah, I'll let that play. So that is on Twitch. That is an extension called the Twitch Integrated Throwing System. I will let you decide what that stands for. But it's a free application that you can download, or I think it costs a few bucks, and you can overlay it on your screen. And it's meant for VTubers, but anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, right? You just tell it where to aim. And we had what was called the hamster cannon, where every like 10 bits would fire one hamster. And we had multiple, which by the way, we love our hamsters. This is hamster Hatsune. Yeah, super cute. The the so you and it chains together. So if you were to send 100 bits, it would like fire 10 of these things rapid fire. And so and that was a temporary thing. I didn't keep it around forever, but that's a great example of monetization where find fresh things, but don't let them overstay their welcome, right? Like, the Bean Zone is always going to be here and the songs that I do are always going to be here, but things like that are really fun. We even just recently started utilizing. There's some really cool features coming down the pipeline with Blurb that we've been testing with VTuber models. And even though I'm not a VTuber, still utilizing like VTube Studio now is a core part of what I use because I have we've turned our stream pet Kevin into a yep, yeah, Cedar's putting the emote there, into a character on screen that actually any blurps that are sent, he actually says the blurps. And that's been super popular. So yeah, things like that. But yeah, that's a great one. And I'm just trying to find unique extensions that integrate with Twitch or TikTok or whatever that, they're novel at the time.
That clip is so funny. I love that. And I love how you're saying too, like, don't let things overstay their welcome, you know? So you're keeping things always fresh, you're always changing things up to keep
Yeah.
things exciting. Now, for streamers that are looking to grow, you yourself have experienced such successful growth all through the hard work and strategy you guys have put in. If you had to restart today with 0 followers, what would your first 30 days look like?
TikTok only. Finding and researching I would go into the gaming top 100 and see what people are playing, take note of their viewer count, and just kind of get a sense of what is popular right now, and also what do I want to play, right? Finding that balance, and not just chasing views for views, but also trying to find the balance where I'm, games that I want to play and that can get exposure on TikTok. I would do that for probably at least a year of just TikTok. And then I would, or at least TikTok and Twitch separately. And then, yeah, eventually try to establish myself off platform, but not try to like hard funnel into it. Because again, that's a great way to kind of get yourself FYP and eligible on TikTok. That's the big thing. I really would if I had to completely start over, because anybody who's been on Twitch, Cat, knows that like if you are trying to start from scratch, calling it a grind is an understatement. It's like, it's like how do you even get the initial traction? But even on the Twitch side, the same advice kind of applies of like finding the niche games that allow you to be on the first page or the second page of a game that's being played so that people can find you, so that people can learn more about you and then follow you for you. But you can't be a new streamer on the 200th page of Fortnite, trying to get exposure. It just doesn't work. I mean, and it's only gotten more difficult as the streaming space has gotten more and more popular and saturated. So yeah, you have to stand out. But for me, that's it. The FYP is the secret sauce that helps you to build a brand, helps you to build an identity, and helps you to learn what does and doesn't work. And then, eventually you can branch out to other platforms and kind of spread your wings.
I love that. Also, Fortnite's catching so many strays this stream. All the Fortnite players like, "Oh, no, my game."
I've seen a lot of people burnt out this season. I've tried it before on Twitch. For a while there, I tried to be, I said, let me try to like doing a week of only Fortnite, and then by the end of it, I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to play something else. I
Never
respect
mind.
I respect people that can do. I'm also terrible at the game, which doesn't help. Yeah,
I respect you for trying. I really do. So, if you've been streaming for a long time,
yeah.
is there something you wish you understood earlier in your creator journey?
Ooh. I would say the importance of community. of making sure that you exist off platform, and for a lot of people that's going to be Discord or something equivalent, right? Where you're creating a hub where people are actively participating even when you aren't necessarily, right? And that's important. Like you want in order to truly have a community, you need people that are interacting with each other and not just with you. And so by having a strong mod team that, is willing to kind of, get the conversation going, and by having a strong community that is, and events, right? Like, maybe it's a watch party, or maybe it's something else happening, or other streamers that you support. That's the big thing, is just I probably would have focused on that sooner, instead of putting all my eggs in the TikTok basket, because it can be frustrating for people. It's if you catch a ban, or whatever, right, where it's just like, oh man, what was all this for? And I think making sure that people are yeah, I see there's a lot of good questions here in chat. Hopefully we'll catch those for later. Making sure that people are feel like they're engaged with the community beyond just wherever they initially found you, so that they're more likely to follow you wherever you go. Is the big thing. And I had plenty of time to do that when we made the jump over to Twitch. The primary reason was because at the time it was looking like TikTok was going to no longer be available in the US. In fact, we were live as it went offline for like that one day. Yeah, as kind of a farewell
Oh,
party.
no.
Yeah, and so naturally it was a little easier to bring people over to where I was at, but which is on Twitch. But it's way easier to build a long term thing that's sustainable for you as a content creator when people are engaging with you on as many platforms as possible, not necessarily at the same time, but Discord definitely. Yeah.
I love how you mentioned community. Community and lurkers are the backbone of streamers, and it's such a huge focus. So
Mhm.
s very, very heavy on that one. Thank you for the advice. We're gonna
Of course.
move to a quick lightning round with you, and then
Okay.
we're gonna open the floor to some questions. We're gonna run a teeny bit over, the hour just because we started a little late.
Yeah.
So quick lightning round questions. What's the best viewer interaction you've ever had?
Oh my gosh, Detroit Lions. The crazy thing about TikTok Live is you do not know who's going to scroll in. The Detroit Lions social media page was apparently very good at Smash. I was doing a Smash Brothers tournament, and they mopped the floor with everybody. And it was through that not only did we become mutuals, but I ended up going to a Lions game, like right on the side of the sideline, and got to meet a bunch of the people because of that. And it was an insane moment. On my wall, I have a poster they sent me with a handwritten message. But that was a crazy moment. That's the power of TikTok, where, like I said, you just never know who's going to scroll through. Brands comment, brands show up, social media. There's a culture of that, and that yeah, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. They still stop by and say hi.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Crazy that it came in, wiped everybody, was like, "Yeah, you wanna come to our game, though?"
Pro Bowser Jr. player. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Wild. And what is one tool you think every streamer should use?
Every tool I'm gotta say Blurb. I literally have to say it because it works everywhere. It works out, with the if you use the browser itself with the beats and the community. And also, I have to say this, if you are not using the community support packs on Blurb to have people send your blurps, you're doing it wrong. It is a 90-10 split where the creator is keeping 90% of what's going in there, as opposed to when people blurp via bits, and then you have Twitch taking their cut. You have the cut coming in from the blurb itself, right? Where it ends up being closer to 50-50. But if you don't know about this, guys, on Blurp, you can go into your settings, and down there will be an option for community support packs. And I don't know if this is locked behind a certain level, but if you have access to it, utilize it. They give you a dedicated link, and then you can have people purchase support packs that give them Blurp credits that only work on your channel. But as a result of that, you're keeping way more because all of the middlemen get eliminated. And like I said, a large portion of my Twitch income really does come from that. So like, don't give money the money that that you're earning to more people than you have to. Like, what it's a very powerful tool. But use Blurb. I mean, and they're putting out so many great features. They're listening. I've been working with them to test new features and give feedback on interactivity. And it's just an amazing team that really is focused on the user, and creating fun experiences, and always trying to find the next thing.
No, I agree. So I was trying to pull up on the side, but
Yeah.
I'll probably end up finding it later. But I
Okay.
completely agree, right? Like, when you cut out the middleman, you get more money in your pocket, and
Yeah.
that's better
It's
for you
that
as the
simple.
creator, better
It
for your
is.
community, because
Yeah.
more money's going to the person they're trying to support. So we love that. And yeah, honestly love how supportive Blurp is. Like, they're just really like grassroots in the weeds with trying to help the creator community. They're always very active on socials, things like that, and just love and respect a brand that like gets it. So,
Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Yeah, they wowed me from day one when we started using the app, and even came into chat and started messing with us early on,
aw.
when we were on Twitch. And yeah, I got to meet them at TwitchCon, and just an amazing team. Every single one of them is just incredible.
I love that. Now let's open the floor to some questions because I know you guys are frothing at the
Yeah.
mouth to pick Nick's brain for all of the creative juices. And I did pull a couple from chat as people were tossing them in. Um, because there are some very interesting ones. We have a question from Level Up Dan asking earlier, when is it too much to change games? And is it bad to be a variety streamer that's often swapping games?
No, I don't think it's bad to be a variety streamer that's often swapping games. I think you just have to read the room. Like if you're really invested in it, and you have to weigh the pros and cons. Like if you are heavily rely on clippable material to put out on socials, like are you getting good clips from this? Are there people that are invested in the plot that might be disappointed if you were to change games? If you want to stop playing it, why do you want to stop playing it? That's the big thing. No, you can never ever well, not never ever, but you can rarely make a bad call if your gut says I don't want to play this. It's either because you don't want to play it or because your stream isn't enjoying it, right? It's going to be one of the two. But yeah, that's the big thing. And then as far as like when is it too late or too early, like timing, I mean timing matters. Like if you only got like 20 minutes left in your stream, don't start up some new game from scratch. But yeah, that's definitely have multiple games ready to go. I've fallen in that trap where I had a game that I thought was going to last the whole stream, and then either it was too short or I didn't enjoy it, and then I'm like, wait, what do I do now? So it's always good to have a couple backup plans ready if you're in the variety category.
I completely agree with your statement of like just why, right? Like you're saying, if it works with the pacing of the stream to swap it, or if it's something that you're swapping to something you're pulling clips out of, the strategy of why is really important.
Yeah.
And well, it's another question from Dan. So I'm not like
Okay.
specifically just cherry picking from Dan, but these are just good questions.
Oh,
Um,
Dan.
but Dan asked, what would you say to people who are struggling to grow doing variety? How could they improve their growth?
There's a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot for viewership. Go into Twitch, where it sorts it by like on the default page where it shows like the number of viewers of each game, right? And then scroll down until for me, like if I really want to try to optimize what I'm playing based off of what's going to help me grow, I try to look for games that have somewhere around like 100 viewers, and it isn't all just coming from one streamer that happened to be playing the game, right? Like there's a lot of people that are playing it that have a few viewers as opposed to just one person that's boosting it with 1,000 plus viewers.
Mhm.
Um, I'll try to find those games and be like, out of these games, what do I want to play? Because I know there's people that are watching. It also increases the likelihood of you getting rated because when someone else is done playing that game, you're going to show up higher up on their list when they go to rate out. If you're playing the same game, right? So it's increased likelihood of being on the front page or being on the first page of a
Mhm.
game if someone were to search for it. It has enough viewers and followers that you know that there is interest in the game. So there's probably a niche community. But you don't want to go to a game that has like two followers and absolutely no viewers. Like it's the likelihood of meeting somebody new that way is just so small. So find the balance. Don't go for an oversaturated game, but don't go for a game that literally no one's interested in.
That is so smart. I think really important that you mentioned is finding a game where you could be on the first page.
Yeah.
The world of a
Yeah, it
difference.
matters. Mhm.
There was a question from Rula Alt asking, for a variety streamer on TikTok, what would your topic or category be?
My topic or category? Well, you can set it as gaming. If that's what you mean by like the actual like classification of the game. When you go live on TikTok Live Studio, it asks you for your category. So I'll put it as gaming, and then I'll typically say other. A lot of the games that I play, because when you select a game on gaming on TikTok Live, it'll ask you what game you're playing, and you have to put something. But not every game, and most of the games I play aren't on that list. So you just put it in as other,
Mhm.
and then that's pretty much it. And there are rules in place. Like you do need to be actually gaming in the gaming ranks, and sometimes people will try to manipulate that, but ultimately they get caught. Of as long as you're playing a video game in the gaming section, then you're gonna be okay.
Awesome. And then we have a community question. Final one from Shoes. Do you like lamb curry?
Oh no, no, no. Listen, okay, now no one's gonna get this. Do you know Jamie Oliver?
I do not.
Okay, he's a famous chef, and he apparently. So this is how chat can use Blurp to drive you nuts. Is that he found this song that Jamie Oliver created apparently like very early in his career. he would do like these weird reggae covers of songs about cooking, and he would perform them live while he was cooking, and it's the cringiest thing I've ever seen in my life, Cat. And of course, naturally, I watch this, and chat brings it upon itself to say, well, okay, he didn't like that. Therefore, and this is the power of blurb, within seconds, I'm going to take that, make it into a blurb, and then pay money to play it over and over again in your ear until you go absolutely stark raving mad. And that is, yeah. So the words lamb curry are a trigger for me. Thank you.
Great story. Great story. Just want to toss that in there for the community power that chat can have on a streamer's sanity.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again, Nick, for coming on to do this workshop for the Creator Accelerator program. Can we get some W's in chat for Nick, guys? We learned so much from Nick. Quit the Build, an expert on TikTok and live streaming, especially engaging chat. And I feel like all of us are gonna walk away with doing a TikTok live stream after this, finding a
Yeah.
game where you're gonna be in the first page and locking in. So thank you again, Nick, for coming on. I appreciate you so much. We all appreciate you for being here. And with that, we are wrapping up today's stream. So again, this is for the Creator Accelerator program hosted by both Blurp and Streamladder. So big shout out to them as well for bringing on these amazing speakers like Nick. And again, if you aren't familiar with the Creator Accelerator program, it is a creator program hosted by our two lovely sponsors where creators are locking in for a 6-week window to try to improve as much as possible. There was the top 500 cutout that was put out last night slash this morning. So if you haven't seen it, it is on Blurp's Twitter page. If you came in through the middle of this stream, don't worry about it. The VOD will be immediately available. I know there's ads. I'm sorry. I had to try to get rid of the pre-rolls. The VOD will be immediately available, and the cut down of this will be put up on Blurp's YouTube channel really, really quickly. So you'll have access to everything. And even if you did get eliminated, you still worked really, really hard and you'll still have access to all these workshops alongside all the other perks like Streamladder Gold Plus for the duration of this program. So don't worry about that. But I'm peeping a lot of familiar faces on the top 500. So keep working hard. We're just about halfway through and there's still 3 more weeks left. So don't be slacking, guys. And there's going to be a lot of other cool things coming out, including community awards as well, giveaways, things like that. So don't sleep on it. Still lock in. And again, this VOD will be immediately available. So we have another workshop tomorrow, Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, starting at the exact same time. I will be the one hosting it this time, and it will be teaching you guys how to get your very first brand deal. So if you're a creator trying to make some money, trying to get some bag in your pocket, besides doing everything Nick taught us about TikTok Live and engagement, brand deals is another way to get a little bit of bag. So I'll be teaching that to you guys tomorrow. And if you can't make it again, don't worry. The VOD will be immediately available and it'll be up on Blurp's YouTube channel. So with that, thank you everybody for being here. And you can go check our lovely speaker, Blurp. Not Blurp, lovely speaker, Nick. Oh my gosh, I saw the blurb from Dad and my brain just like brain farted. But yes, you can check Nick out there on TikTok at Quit the Build. Also on Twitch at the same handle. It is also in the title that you can click right there. So thank you everybody for being here. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I hope to catch you guys in tomorrow's workshop or in the Creator Accelerator Discord. So with that, good morning, night, or evening.